Hey, what's up, everybody? So, you guys remember Danielle? We did the Betty Boo pink curl, and she's been asking for color. So, what we've been doing is just waiting until her rinse kind of like died down. She hasn't had a rinse since sometime last year. So, because, and plus she's been busy, so she hadn't been in. So, right now, I'm going to do a high lift color and some highlights. I'll be using a 30 volume matrix developer with a So Color level 5 and 6 neutral. And I'm using, to do the highlights, the color graphics by Matrix. I love them because they can go under the, I was going to say microwave, they can go under the dryer, as well as they can process at room temperature. And so when someone wants really quick highlights, the Matrix color graphics are used under the dryer, and they're approved to do highlights in like 15-20 minutes. And so they have different toners to give you different tones to cancel out the yellow, to make it more copper, which is really cool. So we're going for a coppery brown color. She wants to just be caramel looking. So I just went with a neutral brown, and when you boost it with the 30 developer, it does give a nice kind of like that Queen Latifah brown. So that's what we're gonna go for. I know that she hasn't had color in forever, so her new growth is gonna catch really, really well. And I know that her ends will be fine because that 30 volume will give it just enough lift. And we've also cut her hair, so a lot of the rinse has been cut out of her hair. So it's almost, her hair has a lot of virgin hair on it between the new growth, you know? So, now I'm just gonna do like some zigzag parts. I love zigzag parts. You'll learn. I do them all the time when I'm cutting hair and when I'm doing anything, just because they're forgiving. I learned this from Gina Khan, to kind of like jiggle your comb when you're doing the highlight parting. It just makes just a nice clean section, and it makes the highlights look more natural and not blocky. So I just took some, I just weaved, and I'm going to apply the lightener. So that was like a ½ inch subsection, and then I took the highlights on top of that ½ inch subsection. And I'm going to apply the color graphics. I didn't use the toner just because that's a level 8 developer, so it's not going to lift a lot. It's going to leave me in that brown orange area. That's where I want to be. And I'm going to actually use the color that I use all over her hair to tone it at the end. So I didn't use the Matrix because they have the different toners in the color graphics. I didn't use that. And if this is like, if you're still trying to understand color, just ask questions and I can answer them, just because this isn't a color specific teaching class, more so just how to, I'm just doing a high lift and adding highlights. This is a basic highlight section that they teach you like in beauty school, because she wanted it right at the top to pop out, as she loved to wear her hair really curly. So we just wanted to add some fun. I could have back combed and then just kind of did like an ombre looking color. I could have just not sectioned, not weaved, and just kind of put color, what I call color splashes, which that's fun. The key when highlighting is to fan your brush once you get near the top where the relaxer part is, or just where the base, where the scalp is. See how I'm kind of turning my brush sideways and kind of painting it on, because that helps you not have a hard line of demarcation. So I place the brush on the mid length and ends. Just kind of place the product on there so that it is firm and steady and holds to the paper. And then once I get towards the top, I just want to kind of fan the lightener into the near the scalp area, so that it looks kind of like grown out, not a hard line. So I'm taking like a ½ inch subsection. I'm doing a weave parting, and I'm using the paper because I just like those. They're quick. I can sometimes color on top of them. I don't know. I love those. And so you could use foils. It's not like there's a really big difference other than just preference on how you want to use your product. But the key here, like I said, is fanning the color. Make sure you saturate the hair, that it goes through to the back side of the hair. And just fan it and make it look kind of grown out and fun. And guys, that fanning is everything. It really does help it not look like it's just a hard line. And so I'm just going to add these until I feel it's appropriate. And then I'm going to go in and add the all over color. That's going to be her high lip. So I'm going to mix up the level 5 and the level 6. I didn't want to just do a level 6 by itself because she literally was scared of the brown. So, and this is her first time. So I didn't want to, make it too hot. So I know the 5 will tone it down. And so I'm doing an all over color application. So I'm literally just applying the 5 and 6 mixed together with a 30 volume. I used an ounce and a half of color and an ounce and a half of developer. Guys, I measure. I hate dumping and pouring. So I make sure I measure, and I'm just going to go in and apply this. I kind of brush it on her ends first, and then just kind of get the color on the hair, because we already know the new growth is going to be super hot. It's going to turn quickly. So I'm really just kind of getting it on the hair, and then I'm going to go back in and emulsify it, rub it all together, and get it nice and all over the hair so that she can get a nice even color. And so guys, I really think it's important too when you're doing okay, wait, I'm going to go between these highlights. And don't get nervous. I used to, when I first started picking up the foils or the paper, I used to get nervous that it was all going to mess up and I'm going to screw it all up. Don't get nervous. This is what I love about colors. Like, man, it's fun. And so don't get nervous. You'll be fine. Make sure you're watching the time in everything you do. And like as far as picking up the paper, the foil, going in between, totally okay. I even like to lift it up like that and go inside and add it to where the highlights are so that it really blends and looks like it's just grown out. So I don't leave the base. I still hit the base of where the highlights are, if that makes sense. Inside the paper, the black parts, I just put a little color right at the front of the highlight. And so I just like mush it, emulsify it. I don't do it like a hard line. I just kind of brush it in and like rub it to where it doesn't have a line at all, to where it's just kind of mush. Mush is the best way I can explain that, so that it looks blended with the highlight. And so you can see the highlight is lifted to like an orangey color. We want to get it past that, but not super like, super bright yellow. And so now I've got all the hair, the ends, mid-lip to ends covered, except for that front piece. I'm just going to go ahead and just apply the color all over the whole head. The best thing about Matrix is that you can put it under the dryer. I used to work for this company, like I said, and they taught me everything. A lifetime's worth of work. It's truly a blessing when it comes to working with the color line and working with the company, because, and guys, companies have education. So whatever company you like to use, if you like to use Matrix, you like to use Enoa color line, you may like to use Wella color line. Go and take their educational courses so that you can understand how the color is formulated. And then here's the thing that we have to do in the Black community. We have to translate that to our hair, and like whether it affects the relaxer, whether it's good for the hair texture, if it's drying, if it has more moisture. And one thing I like about Matrix is that it's not drying. And they really like to make sure that the hair still has elasticity, which is helpful, because if it doesn't, and you have a relaxer, it does make the hair pop eventually. Now, the best part is that we have Olaplex. So I'm going to put this into the dryer for, I did about 15 minutes. So after she's done processing, her total time was 25 minutes. I take the last of the color. It's not really doing anything right now, so it's not going to lift her hair. I just take that and emulsify and just excuse my dancing. I just rub all the color in together over the highlights. I just took the paper off and let the color that we use, I let that kind of tone her hair, because she wants to look really caramely. So I just know that will give her a nice tone, and it'll blend perfectly with the color. So all you're looking at here is her just kind of waiting, and I'm toning. And I did that for about 4 minutes. And then we rinsed, and we completely rinsed all the color out of her hair. And then we put the Olaplex on. So I'm rubbing in the Olaplex number 2. I love this because it really does give that insurance to the hair. So it just bridges that gap in between the relaxer and the hair color. I love it. I actually like it once I rinse out. If I was doing a relaxer, when I rinse out the relaxer before I neutralize, I even put Olaplex then. I either put the Olaplex or the 5-in-1 treatment by Affirm, because both of those just make the hair like, oh my God, I just love the way it feels. I use the Olaplex or the 5-in-1 treatment after I do like a demi or semi-permanent hair color. So I use it all throughout my process. Guys, first of all, it's an upcharge. So $30, $40 additional to use Olaplex or the 5-in-1 treatment. Customers love it because you can see the results pretty much instantly, the shine, and you can feel the strength in the hair. Guys, healthy hair is always a first priority for me. I never compromise. I don't do things just because it's trendy or just because they want it. It has to be about the health of the hair. So I've just always been that way. And that really does keep my books full. Like, people, when they go to other stylists, because I've educated them so much, they're not happy because I've educated them so that they know what their hair deserves. They don't blink at when they come in. How amazing is it that when people come in and sit in your chair, they're just like, whatever you think I need, and I'm always like 150, 200, like, it's just always a high ticket because they need the stuff. So don't feel bad. Don't try to count their money for them, and don't try to, not be too much. Change the mentality. You are giving people what they need so that they can have healthy hair. Listen, guys, that's hair growing out of your scalp. Like, it's their hair. If they don't take care of it, they're going to be bald. So I'm pretty sure if you're attracting a professional woman, a woman who values the way that she looks so that she can show up better in the world, she will have no problem paying for your service. So I get a lot of emails about pricing, and you guys just being, and I had those moments in my career where I was scared to charge. And it just comes from, that's really negative chatter in your head. So you just got to work on understanding the value that you provide, because when you understand how powerful everything is that you're doing, you don't feel bad because you're actually helping that person. All right, so we're going to let this Olaplex sit for 7 minutes, and we'll be back.